I do make sure everyone's muted here. We don't want participants to mute themselves. You want to just check that off, Prabhakar, right? So welcome, everyone. We are pleased to present you with the CytoSolve Symposium, which is a solution that's brought to you by the Movement for Truth, Freedom, Health. And as a part of this, in the science area, in the area of human health and biology, particularly more on the science side, we do a monthly public service. It's a lot of work that we do here to educate people on deep science, original science that we do. So separate from running for office, separate from the health videos we do, everyone should know I'm a full-time biological engineer and a scientist. And in the recent past, we published a paper uncovering the microbiome in the mouth, the bacteria in the mouth. Everyone talks about microbiome. Well, they can talk about it. We actually do the work on it. It took us about 5 years to understand the molecular systems of the entire mouth. Now, everything we do has a scientific aspect. CytoSolve is focused on that, the health aspect, but also the political aspect. You can't separate all these three. I would say we're the only organization on the planet that objectively and consciously links those three. We're not like some bunch of academics who just sit in ivory tower writing papers, or a bunch of activists who just want to go out and do stuff, which is all good, or just taking care of our health. We do all three. So this symposium is focused on oral health. And we're going to walk you through the science focused on it, but we'll also touch base on the other aspects. But the key thing is we take a whole systems approach. The research we did here was critical during the mask mandates to expose the nonsensical nature of imposing masks on people, which could actually hurt oral health. So, but we're going to give you the background on that next. So today's agenda is, first of all, you're going to learn the power of system science. Dr. Prabhakar just played the Journey to Systems video. To all of you who are new, one way you can support our research is become a Truth, Freedom, Health Warrior Scholar. Go to truthfreedomhealth.com. If you have a lot of money, contribute all the money you have. Or you can support our research and help yourself. We're going to teach you what is CytoSolve. We're going to talk about the revolutionary innovation process we've done where we can do research in the biological sciences faster, cheaper, and safer than any major academic institution. And we've proven that over and over and over again over the last 20 years. It is a process that does not involve killing animals. It is a process that does not involve, having 10 million square feet of laboratory space. It's using the modern world of computing, bioinformatics, mathematical modeling, all those kinds of very powerful things. Which is one of the major revolutions now taking place in the world. Then we're going to talk about what is oral health, what we've uncovered, and how you can support our research. Next. Prabhakar, you played the Journey to Systems video, right?
Yeah.
So that was really meant to give you a systems perspective. But on a societal level, to link all this is what's going on globally. This is one of the reasons I'm running for president of the United States. Because no one else wants to really talk about this. Cost of living is explosively growing up everywhere, and lifespan is going down. In the United States, if you have a child, your son or daughter will have a shorter lifespan than you. And by the way, this data comes from Kaiser Permanente, one of the biggest insurance companies in the world. We were the first ones to bring this out, but we also don't just want to grift off of it. We actually have a solution for it. One of them is CytoSolve, other is SystemSolve. Truth, Freedom, Health, the movement. Next. So if you want to solve this problem, you have to recognize it's a systems problem. When you look at stress physically in the body, you can't just say, oh, if I just get enough sleep, it's going to fix it. Oh, if I eat enough yogurt and get the right acidophilus, it's going to do it. Oh, if I just do yoga, it's going to do it. No, none of any one of those things are not going to solve it. What you recognize is there's a massive amount of stress working people suffer, not the 0.0001%. Everyday people like us. The healthcare system is designed to destroy your immune systems. The environment is very difficult to get healthy foods. I don't know if you saw the research just came out from the largest cancer organization that compared the health of 20-year-olds between 1970 to 1990 and 1990 to now. The cancer rates are growing in the current group at an exponential level in every type of cancer. They're not sure what it is. Microplastics? Is it, the food? No one's clear, but that's the data. And then you look at the fact that people don't learn how to think in a systems way. When it comes to innovation, we think Elon Musk, who's never frankly innovated anything, is the only person that's going to innovate. And the inability for people to actually look at a problem and solve it. People outsource their future to corrupt leaders. Many people have no savings. The average American only has $400 in their savings account, yet they will give $200 to Trump. It's ridiculous. Okay? So when you look at this, this is what we call a systems approach. And this is why you need a systems overhaul, because this stress, the policies that have been implemented affect your biology at the DNA level, at the cytoplasm level, at your membrane level, at every level. So policies of the elites are affecting you biologically. Who else is talking like that? Only our movement, because we have this systems perspective that spans multiple scales at the large societal level all the way down to the microbiology level. So just think about what I'm saying. Just look at this diagram. The policies of the elites have affected your biology. Just think about what I'm saying. The policies of those in power have affected your biology. What does that mean? That means when people like Booby effing Kennedy, Trump, Fauci, everyone else out there promoted lockdowns, that affected your biology. People took antidepressants. If you were a person of color, you stayed indoors. It affected your vitamin D3 levels and everyone's levels. So the policies of the elites don't give a damn about you. Policy affects biology. So if you're hearing this for the first time, understand that this deep scientific perspective is what this movement offers, but we have solutions. Next. So what are those solutions? The solution is Truth, Freedom, Health. It's the only force on this planet which systematically addresses this problem to execute a systems overhaul. Next. So what is the solution? Well, we teach you how to strengthen your immune system. We actually give you solutions. We did that during the pandemic. We give you solutions how to find local healthy foods. We teach you truth from lies. That's what the entire Truth from Health Warrior Scholar program is. Again, we've made it so accessible to people. We made it so affordable. You don't have to spend $100 grand. It's a way that you can contribute to all the noble work we do and help yourself also. So please go do that if you haven't. Innovation. We teach you how to make your children smart. We have a whole innovation program for kids. We teach people how to become leaders. We have an entire leadership training institute. Young people are not taught how to be disciplined, how to have a schedule, how to organize themselves. We have to do that. We teach people about economics, about how wealth is created. So our movement is really going after the systems problem. It's a noble duty, but no one else is doing it. That's what we choose to do, and we're doing this globally. Next. So as a part of that, again, everyone, if you're here, we value your attendance, but you must also reciprocate and help build this movement. Go to truthfreedomhealth.com, become a warrior scholar, but it's really for you. You got to get educated or you will be enslaved, and you'll see that we've created a systems approach here. We teach you system science that I learned at MIT. We give you books and tools. We have a community. We put you on a course, literally a course of communities, great people. We kick your butt. We get you disciplined. We make you real. It's a warrior scholar program. You have to get on the ground and you have to learn theory. But it's a very simple way. Go contribute here and support yourself to support us. Next. You can come to the open house every 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. every Thursdays. Come to it. Next. So our program, even as we discuss oral health, is about thinking, fighting, and healing. It's not about any one thing. Next. So And we have solutions in each one of those spaces. Okay, next. So you can see them here. Every other Fridays, we do the Systems Health Institute, which is an entire program for professionals to become systems health professionals, educators on how to teach people how their body is a system and how to find the right foods for the right person at the right time. CytoSolve is today's focus, and we do research on behalf of the public. It's an open science institute. And then Truth from Health is training leaders. So we have everything. Next. You can't separate these. So when we look at food is medicine, here are the three solutions we have. These are solutions we worked on over 20 years. And by the way, as you hear these solutions are well-developed solutions. We're actually now looking for CEOs or leaders to run these units. We've been doing it on our own, but it's time that we bring in some fresh blood. So if any one of you have management experience, we were discussing this morning, but the certified clean and certified raw label is a global standard that defines from the time where the food is coming from and when it gets into your mouth. Okay? Is it non-GMO? Where was it picked? Does it follow proper control system standards? We created the standard. Most importantly, this is a bottoms-up standard. We, the people, own the standard, not governments. It's very powerful. That's one tangible solution we have. Again, not barking at the elites and how bad the world is. We actually have a solution. That seal will tell you the source of that food and if it's good food and it's clean food, etc. Next. So it's important to know where your food's coming from and the quality of the food. But then we have to recognize, how do we put compounds from food together to figure out what's right for you? Okay. Well, there are only about 60,000 synthetic compounds that pharmaceutical companies use. 60,000, write that number down. 6 times 10 to the power of 4. But there are 10 to the power of 32 molecules in nature. That's 10 with 32 zeros. And many of those molecules, we don't even know how they work. With CytoSolve, we are finding combinations, extracts from food to combine that can solve every disease on the planet without killing animals. And that technology took me 20 years to develop, much longer than even the creation of email. So CytoSolve allows us to find compounds in food, combine them like my grandmother did, using a completely different art form, and create products. And we'll show you we've created a very powerful, revolutionary innovation process. We'll share that with you. And then finally, it's not sufficient you just get good food and you're creating medicines, but you have to figure out the right medicine for the right person at the right time. How do you do that? That is an entire framework of scientific principles that integrates Eastern medicine with Western engineering technology. That was the other big breakthrough platform that I created. And we have the Systems Health Training Program, which we're training professionals globally. You can actually get a degree in this. You can get certified. You can then go on to become your own professional. You can give that knowledge away for free, or you can start a very lucrative business in the field of health coaching, which is prospected to be about a $40 billion business in the next 5 years. But most of the health coaching stuff is nonsense. This is the real stuff. Next. So when you look at this, we have solutions. And it's all based on nature, respecting nature. Where does the food come from? How do you combine the food to create medicines? And what's the right medicine for the right person at the right time? So, and you guys can participate in all of this, support it. But you notice, as much barking as I do against the elites, but I do 5 times more work very quietly developing solutions. Irrespective of the elites, we can go take care of our health and be functional human beings who learn how to fight and also think. So I wanted to give you that background. So if you like a lot of this, again, we're doing this for pennies. You guys should support it. Put your money where your mouth is. Help us versus, maybe you don't watch Netflix for a month and you support what we're doing, okay? It's not a lot of money, but everyone can have impact. Next. So go to Truth from Health to get educated to be enslaved. Next. I do want, Prabhakar will come back to this, but you can go to truthfromhealth.com and watch this video. There's a very important video everyone should see called shattertheswarm.com. We're not going to play it now, but you can go to truthfromhealth.com and you'll see that video. It'll really educate you on the systems nature of who's behind how you're actually being enslaved. Next. All right. You can contribute. Again, we're going to lay it very much out. I used to be very, very shy about talking about money, but we're way beyond that. We're creating a movement and you guys can support us, but we support you. You can be a free member. You can get a whole free plan called Get Off the Plantation. Now, we have thought about the Warrior Scholar Program, pricing that at 25 grand, and then saying, oh, by the way, you get a scholarship, because people are really weird with money, but you get a ton of value. It's the same knowledge I used to teach at MIT in my PhD program, but you can support one of these programs. Next, when you become a member, we give you lots of tools for nothing. Go take the Get Off the Plantation course. It's free. It's about, I think, 10, 15, 20 courses, absolutely free. But it'll make you awaken you why you need to actually let go of the old way of doing things. Next. You can also get other tools to teach you how your body is a system. This program is actually going to go away because we were giving it away. People weren't valuing it. Next. And then the Warrior Scholar Program is you get books and tools and the community, everything. Next. If you want to contribute more, you can. Next. Okay, so let's talk about, next slide. What is CytoSolve? So what is CytoSolve? Because it's very important to understand what CytoSolve is, to understand this powerful engine that came out of my PhD work that's been leveraged, but it's really a technology platform in the field of computational modeling that lets us eliminate the need for animal testing. Dr. Prabhakar will play, in the interest of time, a very brief 2-minute video that'll give you a real understanding of what is CytoSolve. Who would have ever thought someone like me would invent email and create CytoSolve to revolutionize health for personalized and precision medicine, a system for delivering the right medicine for the right person at the right time? I was born a low-caste untouchable in India's caste system, a system of aristocracy, oppression, and racism. As a child, I observed my grandmother, a poor village farmer, practice Siddha, India's oldest system of medicine, to heal local villagers by observing their face, to know their unique constitution, to deliver a unique combination of foods, healing herbs, and massage. The caste system and her abilities to heal inspired me to understand the interconnectedness of all life. My name is Dr.SHIVA Ayyadurai. I'm an MIT PhD, a Fulbright scholar, a scientist, technologist, and inventor. My family and I left India to come to America on my 7th birthday. As a 14-year-old, I began working as a full-time research fellow at Rutgers Medical School to unravel the mysteries of sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS, and created the world's first email system long before I ever heard of MIT. As I traverse academia over the next 3 decades, I observed self-serving academics, never solving real problems, writing grant after grant, competing for tenure, while diminishing real science and real scientists, pushing a reductionist science to destroy the scientific method. Like the blind men who never saw the whole elephant, but the parts, they delivered a dismembered view of reality. I observed Big Pharma use such reductionism, wasting billions year after year to fund research in test tubes, killing animals, and using the poor as guinea pigs for clinical testing to create products that even the FDA no longer allowed. Not only Big Pharma practiced this reductionism, but also the elites of Big Vitamin, Big Green, and Big New Age, with gurus and yogis, empowered by Hollywood celebrities, selling one supplement after another based on a cherry-picked science. All that changed in 2003 when the Human Genome Project ended, revealing that humans have the same number of genes, about 20,000, as that of a worm, giving rise to a systems biology. We realized that one-size-fits-all medicine was a failure. We realized their medicines were killing us, making today's generation's lifespan shorter than any previous generation. Obesity, heart disease, deaths from adverse reaction to drugs, confusion on what diet, what supplements, and who to believe is what they have delivered you. They push natural and organic products for your beauty and wellness, while their real solution is their plastic surgeons and Botox. We've been sold out. It's time for real science, a system science that interconnects the parts to discover truth, to know what really works, to get the health we need and deserve. This is why I created CytoSolve
CytoSolve. CytoSolve is about truth, freedom, and health versus power, profit, and control. CytoSolve is a revolutionary technology integrating bioinformatics, computational biology, mathematical modeling, decentralization to reveal the truth. CytoSolve computes trillions of potential combinations of biomolecular interactions to discover what actually works based on the actual science. No reductionism, no cherry picking. CytoSolve's predictive modeling has been proven accurate time and time again, matching laboratory results. CytoSolve discovers synergistic combinations of compounds to maximize health and reduce toxicity. For example, we know curcumin from turmeric and resveratrol from red grapes alleviate inflammation, but how much should we combine? Current methods are hand-waving at best. Here, with CytoSolve, we first model the control condition with no curcumin and no resveratrol to simulate high inflammation with the cytokine level at 0.15 micromolar. Next, we add just 5 micromolars of curcumin. The inflammation drops to 0.05. Next, we use 5 micromolars of resveratrol and the inflammation drops from 0.15 to 0.06. But when we combine curcumin and resveratrol of 3 micromolars of curcumin and 2 micromolars of resveratrol, inflammation drops from 0.15 to 0.03, far lower, nearly 200% less than just one compound alone. That's the synergy principle of system science. We've all had enough of their fake and reductionist science. They think we'll simply keep buying their marketing, their celebrities, and their products that can never truly heal us. We don't need them. Great things come when we integrate the best of things. It's our time. It's time we delivered solutions for ourselves. It's time for truth, freedom, and health. It's time for CytoSolve. Welcome.
So that gives you an understanding of what CytoSolve is. It's a technology that allows us to look at, if you look at any field of science, like we're going to talk about oral health, there's been hundreds of thousands of papers published in the field. The problem is science does not incentivize scientists to work together. They actually incentivize scientists to stay in their little cubicles, do their little thing, do a little piece of research, publish a little piece, and then go to the next project and get more grant money. Whether you may not know this, but this is what actually goes on in academic settings. A professor is constantly competing to get money, He does a little bit of experiment, he publishes, and he goes on to his next thing. I don't know if you saw, there was a person called William Richardson who was publishing like 50 articles. It turned out the articles were being published by an AI tool by a cat, okay? I don't know if you guys saw this, it just came out. So it's a funny thing. A friend of mine just told me about this, but the publishing industry in science has become a racket of getting money publishing. So when you look at the science out there, it takes a lot of effort to find out what's real. Out of the stuff that's real, find out the molecular reactions and put them together. And that's what CytoSolve does. It does all this curation, and then we find the pieces, we connect all the dots, and then we mathematically compute the molecular reactions in your body. It's a concept that people thought was impossible, and that's what I solved for my PhD work. Then it took us between 2007 to 2020 to validate all of this because we had to prove it. And now it's become a global standard, a platform for going after every major disease. Next. So how do we do this? Next. So the reason we're sharing this with you, most companies wouldn't share this. But we believe in open science. I'm sharing this with you because I hope all of you support this tangibly, either buying the products from CytoSolve, funding our research, but we're going after solving every disease on the planet, quote unquote disease. So what we do is first, we build a molecular architecture. We literally have to take all that research and reverse engineer to figure out, hey, what does this house really look like? How many bathrooms does it have? How many bedrooms, et cetera? That's called an architecture of that disease. Next. We then publish it in major journals. So the swarm or the establishment doesn't say, oh, this is just bullshit. We get others, eminent people, to look at our research. We're willing to put our stuff under peer review and have people judge it. When you publish it, you're getting out to the world that we're willing to go under their scrutiny. So that's a very important process. That may take years. Once we do that, next, then we go to phase 3, which is now looking at all that architecture and mathematically modeling it, way beyond AI. Next, once we've done that, then we use those models to screen, as I mentioned, those compounds in nature, those 10 to the power 32 subset of ingredients, to figure out what combinations are right. Very much like what my grandmother did, but using a much different engineering systems approach. Next. Once that's done, if we discover something new, we protect ourselves, because what's going on right now is Jeff Bezos and Amazon, if you create a new product and you start selling on Amazon, if it's selling well, they just steal it. So we have learned how to protect our discoveries. Then we may even go license it or manufacture it. So look at this process. This process didn't exist before CytoSolve. How do they do it? What they do is they raise money, they found a synthetic compound, they kill a bunch of animals in a lab, then they go to the FDA, then they go to phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials. This is completely eliminating the need for animal testing, and we can go end to end in 18 months to product development. It takes them 13 years and $5 billion. This is revolutionary what we've done. But you will never see the mainstream media put this out there because it destroys the entire pharmaceutical development process, which was failing, and that's why they needed Trump to sell vaccines for them. Next. And I've done videos on that. Now, look at what we've done over the last 16 years. We're going after every major disease. We've spun out individual companies, and you can see what phases they're in. We have 2 companies in osteoarthritis and men's health. We have a bunch of companies in phase 5 where we have discovered combinations for pancreatic cancer, for advancing brain health, for immune systems health, longevity, and gut brain. And phase 4, we're now going after diabetes, dengue, which is for people in Africa and Southeast Asia, all using natural products. All of these, there's about 32 companies. Any one of you, if you want, you can support one of them, invest in them, and be part of this. All of this has been done by us without any venture capital money, without any Silicon Valley money, nothing, by us. In the middle of running for president, in the middle of exposing the swarm, all that other stuff. So you guys have it pretty easy. You guys can just give us money to support it or jump in and help us. Okay? But we're going after solving every major disease. Now, oral health, that Dr. Prabhakar will point out, is in phase 3, which is what we're going to solve, OraSolve. 3.5 billion people in the world have mouth issues, periodontal issues. And we are marching down a process to solve that using natural products. Not the problem with most of the natural products industry. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry read something on Twitter, they put some shit together and they say, oh, buy this. They don't even know if it works. They have no science. It's all just brand marketing, etc. We actually understand at the molecular level. Next. So we'll walk you through an example. Before we go to OraSolve, we're on the path to actually developing a solution. And we're right now in the publication phase. Next. So we'll show how we've done this before. Some of you may know we created a product. We never thought we would manufacture something. It just so happened because no one else was willing to do. So we said, might as well do it. So MV25 is a product that we created from our ground up research to solve the issue having to do with osteoarthritis. So Prabhakar will share with you that and the process that we went through. Go ahead.
Millions of people suffer every day from painful discomfort and swelling, but most pain medications come with harsh side effects, and many alternative supplements have little scientific backing. That's why we at CytoSolve created MV25. MV25 was formulated using the CytoSolve Computational Systems Biology Platform, a technology for precision and personalized health invented by Dr. Shiva during his doctoral research at MIT. This formulation is the result of computing trillions of potential combinations of biomolecular interactions derived from thousands of peer-reviewed scientific papers published across 4 decades by 68 research institutions to discover an optimal synergy of compounds that downregulate biomarkers of discomfort and normal swelling.
Hi, I'm Barbara Ann. My hands would cramp up so that I couldn't hold cards or knit or crochet, and they would go like that. And I'd have to use this when I played cards with my grandkids, and I'd start taking that MV25. After a bit, I was able to hold cards in my hand, very, very little cramping, hardly at all anymore. MV25.
Hi, my name is Sandy. I'm a Taekwondo instructor. I tore my ACL during Taekwondo. I had a lot of pain and limited mobility. I've been taking the MV25 for about 6 months now. After the first week, I noticed a big difference. After the second week, almost literally no pain.
My name is Jeremy, and I suffer from a lower back problem. Hurt my back at work years ago, and I can go to the chiropractor, do all kinds of different things, and nothing seems to help. And I decided to try MV25. I didn't notice a difference immediately, but within a few days, the pain went away, and it stayed away. I've continued to take it, and even when I do things that I shouldn't do, it seems to go away a lot quicker than it ever did before.
MV25 is certified clean, 100% non-GMO, made in America, and GMP certified for good manufacturing practices. MV25 is CytoSolve optimized, which means that this formula has been engineered to maximize benefits while minimizing toxicity based on current research curated by CytoSolve. As the science advances, so will this formulation. This is our promise. Order online at mv25.life. Consult your doctor before taking any supplement or medication and use as directed. MV25.
All right, so that's MV25, and as Dr. Prabhakar is sharing, the way that was created was through the same process. As you can see, during 2017-19, we created the first systems architecture of osteoarthritis. We mapped out 100,000 molecular reactions next, and we built a detailed architecture of knee osteoarthritis. Every molecular reaction that was ever done at that time, we mapped out. Next, it took us a while to publish it. Then we did the modeling of all those chemical reactions. And then we went through ingredients in nature, trillions of computations, ingredients like this. We found the compounds. We ran it through the CytoSolve process, and we discovered this very unique combination of two compounds, apigenin and hesperidin. One comes from chamomile, and the other comes from bitter orange. And it affects multiple molecular mechanisms, as you can see in each column, that affect knee osteoarthritis. And we mathematically proved how it would lower those biomarkers of pain and inflammation. Then we actually got a US patent from the patent office. It's very difficult to get one of these patents. And then finally, we said, why don't we just manufacture it? So we've done end to end. Next. So this is quite powerful because we don't need to rely on anyone. Next. So that's OsteoSolve, one of the companies. And then we went on to build a product. You can go, by the way, one way you can support everything we're doing is go to mv25.life. It's a phenomenal product. We get rave reviews about it. And it's just food. It comes from two natural compounds, and we know why it works. Next. And we published about why it works. We also created a similar product for pets. It's a whole health product. People just report how their pets transform themselves. And you just take a couple of teaspoons and you put it into their wet food. Next. But all of these are science-based products. So when it came to oral health, we did an oral health initiative. Next. And we are right now in the publication phase. We're about to start doing the modeling and combination screening phase. So we'll share with you the process we went through. Next. So first of all, in the architecture phase, there are multiple things that affect oral health. Some of it's genetic. I'll give you an example. Indians in South India, and we'll talk about this, a certain group of them, suddenly when they hit the age of 40, boom, all their teeth fall out. No one knows why. It just happens. Their bone just gets destroyed. Some people allocate that with genetic factors. The other is poor oral hygiene. The other is dysbiosis of the oral microbiome. You have a certain set of friendly bacteria in your mouth. Whatever you do alters that bacteria, and you have periodontal issues. Environmental factors, lifestyle, high sugar containing diet, smoking and alcohol, chewing and tobacco. Now, the oral microbiome, you'll see number 3 can get affected by wearing a mask too long, okay? Which is what we showed. Dysbiosis of the oral microbiome. Next. But these are what we call the triggers. So what is oral health? Okay. Well, first of all, if you look at the mouth is an organ which is composed of many subsystems. The bone, right? Just feel your mouth. You got bone, you got soft tissue, you have the gums, you have your cheek, you have your tongue, and you have the salivary glands. And then also you have something called the oral microbiome, okay? Which are these bacteria. Our work with the Forsyth School at Harvard and BU elicited there's around 700 different bacteria in your mouth, okay? Next. So when you look at this, these are the common oral diseases people get: tooth decay, cavities, teeth sensitivity. You know, you go for a cleaning and every time the guy touches your tooth, you go, ooh, ow, right? Gum diseases, gingivitis, inflammation of the gums, periodontal diseases, chronic inflammation of the gums, oral cancers, or some people get ulcers, okay, which is called noma. 3.5 billion people in the world suffer from oral disease. Next, 3.5 billion people. That's nearly half of the planet. Now, what's important about oral health that it drives pretty much everything else in your body. Heart disease, the poor hygiene increases risk of heart disease by 70%. Diabetes, severe periodontal disease, can increase blood sugar, contributing to increased periods of time when the body functions with high blood sugar. Osteoporosis. So osteoporosis may lead to tooth loss because the density of the bone that supports the teeth may be decreased. Hypertension, gum disease worsens blood pressure and interferes with medications to treat hypertension. So you see, the mouth is extremely important to overall systemic health. Next. The other piece of this is it drives anxiety. It's COPD, right? Preterm and low birth weight, glaucoma, arthritis, pancreatic cancer. So for example, in pancreatic cancer, if you have a specific bacterium in your mouth, there's a 59% more likely chance you'll get this type of cancer. So the mouth is a source of so many things. Next. So why is this so? Because when you look at the mouth, you'll notice on the bottom right, there's a little key. Those colors are some of the different kinds of bacteria in your mouth. The orange is leptotrichia, for example, streptococcus, all these different bacteria, okay? And they like to be in different parts of your mouth. And the oral microbiome is the community of these bacteria. That's what microbiome means. And it's crucial in maintaining your oral health, your systemic health. And there's a diverse oral microbiome. There's bacteria, there's fungi, there's viruses, there's archaea, there's protozoa, there's all different things, okay? And the function of the beneficial microbiome is to protect the oral cavity and to prevent disease development. So when you have beneficial bacteria, you are supporting oral health and overall systemic health. Many traditional cultures always focus on taking care of the mouth, how they wash the mouth before they eat, how they took, let's say, yogurt or acidophilus at the end of a meal, and how they had a practice of how they took care of their mouth. Next. Now, the oral microbiome is related to many diseases: Alzheimer's, periodontitis, cardiovascular disease, cystic fibrosis, different types of cancer, from esophageal, we talked about pancreatic, colorectal cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, obviously caries, cavities, etc. So again, the mouth is really your gateway to health. I think we've emphasized that enough. Next. So what we wanted to do was we really wanted to do the architecture of this at the molecular level, put it all together. And so what you can see here is when you look at the mouth under a microscope, you'll find that there's various different types of immune cells in the oral microenvironment. You have neutrophils, T cells, B cells, monocytes and macrophages, and dendritic cells, the DCs. These are all cells of your immune system. Next. And every day we find new ones, okay? Now, when you look at the oral health in children, this is what's fascinating. Next. This paper came out and it said oral microbiome, possible harbinger of children's health, which means how the oral microbiome is will determine the future of that child's health into adulthood. Now, there's over 700 organisms, including bacteria, fungi, and viruses in there. This affects cavities, periodontal disease, oral cancer, colorectal cancer, pancreatic cancer, and childhood oral microbiome can predict oral and systemic diseases. So based on how well a child takes care of their oral health will determine their future trajectory. So just reflect on that. People have children. Children are told to eat all these Cocoa Puffs and all these candies and all these very high sugary stuff. Where does that put them in life? Now, the oral microbiome in children, just after birth, there's about 178 species of bacteria in the oral microbiome. And before the tooth starts coming out, the mucosal surfaces serve as a primary sites for bacterial colonization. And after the tooth comes out, a higher microbial load is found on the teeth and the tongue. Okay, the oral fungi involve Candida, and that's the only fungus found immediately after birth. And the fungal diversity increases with age. Oral viruses, there's 6 viruses found in infant or oral microbiome. Most of the viruses are pathogenic. Okay, next. So the microbiome has been associated with various childhood diseases. Autism, high abundance of oral, and they've identified the particular species of bacteria. You can see that for the oral microbiome organisms in autism, where you have high amounts of those first two, the limnohabitans and the planctomycetales, and you have low amount of the good bacteria, Ramley-Bector and the Mucilageni-Bector, okay? So you see there's a balance here. So autism is a result of high abundance of one organism and low of the other. Same thing if you look at pediatric inflammatory bowel disease. You have a high abundance of oral microorganisms, those things, the streptococci and the candida, and you have a low abundance of the actinomyces. Celiac disease, the same thing. And same thing with sleep apnea, okay? High abundance of oral microorganisms there and low abundance of this. So when you look at this, you notice that these oral microorganisms are actually medicine. So either you're killing the good stuff and you're growing the bad stuff, or if you do the right things, you grow the good stuff and you keep down the bad stuff. And your mouth, it's a medicine. So you want to think about the balance between these microorganisms as the right medicine for the right person at the right time. Next, particularly for children. So in the context of this, let's talk about face masks and oral health. And we were the first ones. We did 2 conferences, right, Prabhakar, in 2019, 2020. We took our science, we educated people. We educated people to go fight local school boards. But you can see here that the temperature profile varies very different based on the effect of masks on temperature regulation. When you wear face masks, it creates a microenvironment around the mouth and nose. Now that microenvironment impacts the heat exchange significantly. The gas exchange also, and the respiratory heat loss is impaired, which means you're supposed to breathe out heat, right? And heat burden is increased inside the face mask, right? So you have higher temperature, and the facial temperatures rose anywhere between 1.5 to 2 degrees. Now that may not sound a lot, but it's significant. Next, and what that does, it affects the effects of temperature regulation of this. The face is extremely important, for example, for thermal regulation of the body. You have tons of thermal receptors around the face, and the oral temperatures start increasing in that area, and you can see the temperature increases based on the different kinds of masks, okay? Next. So masks affect temperature regulation, and so how does this affect those microbiomes? So the oral cavity is kept at a reasonable constant temperature, which should be 34 to 36 degrees, but the oral microbiome is sensitive to changes in temperatures. So when you have these prolonged higher temperatures, that's going to lead to inflammatory oral environment. What does that mean? That means you're going to perturb the balance of the good versus the bad microbiome. Next. And what that temperature does, it affects gene expressions. So you've changed, it's like you change the environment of your mouth, these same people are supposedly so concerned about CO2 raising temperature. They were the same ones who were all about putting masks on people's mouths, which is raising your temperature inside your mouth, you know? And over a long period of time, these changes may favor pathogenic bacteria, telling a kid to wear a mask for 8 hours. And that rise in temperature is associated with the presence of pathogenic bacteria, and the increase in pathogenic bacteria will subsequently lead to periodontal disease. After we put out our research, many dentists were talking about mask mouth, right? Where people, 50% increase in, more periodontal disease, cavities, etc. This is in 2020, 2021. Next. So the key way this occurs is that the temperature affects the pH. Now, wearing masks over extended periods of time, what does it do? It reduces salivation. Salivation is key. You want your salivary glands to work properly, and that upsets the microbial balance in the oral cavity. Why is saliva important? Well, it maintains correct pH. It's a nutrient for your microbiome. It lubricates, it cleanses. It's an immunoprotective. Now, the oral cavity, your mouth, is supposed to be between a pH of 6.75 and 7.25, okay? It's, between neutral and a little bit acidic, okay? But that's what normal is. Next. And what you see happens is that in a case of where you have low saliva flow, the pH goes down. When pH goes down, what does that mean? That means it's more acidic, okay? And this is where you get a diseased biofilm, all right? And this is not a good deal. When you have a healthy biofilm, you have a higher pH toward that 6.75. If you eat fermentable carbohydrates, that can solve that, as well as H2O2, okay? So there are beneficial things you can do to support that, okay? All right. But fundamentally, this is why mask wearing has serious problems, it affects it. So on the one hand, when you see people say no entry without face masks, they think they're doing a good thing, but they're actually doing something bad here. Next. Next. So let's now look at the biology of this. How did we come to these conclusions? Let's open the hood. So this was a major paper we published recently. And what we showed in our paper, this is right out of our paper, most common oral disease, 80% of US adults have experienced some form of periodontal disease. And this results from inflammation of the gums, and that affects the teeth, the jaw bones that support the teeth. Now, if you look at this diagram, you notice there's the immune cells. We're showing you a whole systems perspective here. You have the immune cells, which are all those different kinds of cells, the dendritic cells, the neutrophils, the macrophages, B cells, T cells, NK cells, etc. Then you have the microbiome, which are the balance of bacteria. You have the soft tissue. You have the teeth, which are composed, the teeth, and then you have the hard tissue, the bone, which is composed of osteoblasts, okay? You have the endothelial cells, you have keratinocytes, fibroblasts. So this is a very amazing system, a systems approach here. Next. When you now do the systems dynamics, this is how it works. We can start in the center there with the bacterium gingivalis. Now, when gingivalis increases, which is not a good bacteria, P. gingivalis, and this can occur from virulence factors, and we'll go through those LPs, GMPs, and LTAs. We'll get to that shortly. But those affect the increase of this bacterium, gingivalis, which is not a good guy, and that affects bone tissue. Your osteoblasts, your osteoclasts start getting eaten away, and that leads to bone loss. But the gingivalis also, with these virulence factors, affects the soft tissue, the epithelial cells, the endothelial cells, the fibroblasts, all those things, the gum tissue. The gingivalis also affects the immune system, okay? The immune system affects the T helper cells, the NK cells, the dendritic, and that gingivalis leads to the cytokine storm where your body overreacts. And what that happens is you start getting a vicious cycle. The immune system puts out those pro-inflammatory cytokines, IL-1 beta, IL-6, which lead to greater soft tissue loss, separate from the bacterium itself. And that leads to more effects on the immune system, which you get the cytokine storm. So you see it becomes a horrible positive feedback system, that's not a good thing. So this is what the pathogenesis is, just from one bacteria being out of whack, gingivitis that they call it, right? Next. Now, what we did was we were the first ones to map out the molecular pathways. So on the bottom here, you see, Prabhakar, you may just want to have that paper ready so people can see. It took us 5 years to get this paper published because we don't have any insiders in the game. We actually have to do good work. We can't call up a friend and say, hey, approve my paper. So when we get something published, it's really, really good stuff, because the journals are very competitive and they want good research. So even though they may not like me, they don't want me to go publishing elsewhere because they lose views, they lose their readership. So if we bring this up, we published in the Journal of the American Dental Sciences, and we brought one of the leading experts to review our work, a guy called Phil Stashenko. He was the head of the Forsyth Institute at Harvard. He's a retired guy, he's tenured, so he really doesn't care what people think. He just wants to do good stuff. So we were very, it was good for us that we got a guy like him to review our work independently. Can you bring that up, Prabhakar? Yeah. So this is a paper that we're talking about that we published. So this has been published in one of the leading journals in the world. Took us 5 years, a lot of work. Okay, let's go back.
From the American Dental Association.
Right. So Prabhakar will go through this. We'll come back, but let's go. But we just want to let you know that this is no small feat to get something like this done. Again, you know how much we were funded for this, guys? 0. If I was at Harvard, MIT, I would have probably been funded $30 million to do this work. Seriously. Seriously. Okay. But we do work faster and cheaper than academic institutions. So Phil is now at BU, he's the head of the BU Dental School, but he decided to work with us because he couldn't get this done at BU. So now you see we have what leads to chronic periodontal disease, where you have soft tissue loss, bone loss, immune overactivation. Any one of those could lead to it. If you have all three, you have serious periodontal disease. And for each one of those, we've identified in the next layer the molecular signaling pathways, okay? Right there. And then we have identified where they come from. This is called an architecture. No one had ever done this before. This is what a systems approach does. No different than when we showed you the systems architecture of how they're killing you. You see, when you take a systems approach, you put it all together. Truth, freedom, health, it's all together. So all of these things contribute next. And then we went, if you look under the hood, we mapped out every molecular reaction. Hundreds, thousands of molecular reactions that lead to the imbalance of creating P. gingivalis, for example. And we have mapped all these out. We are now in the phase of mathematically modeling this. Once we do this, we can go through all the compounds in nature and figure out how you stop this from occurring. Next, using natural products. So for example, here's one of those little subsystems. This is in the gum. You're looking at something called gingipanes, which is a virulence factor. And the biomarkers of that are these 3 cytokines, IL-6, IL-8, IL-beta. And the biological effect is it leads to inflammation. So you can see this is just one little thing that we mapped out. And now we're mathematically modeling all this, which shows how gingipanes lead to all these chemical reactions in the epithelial cells, which is, so if you touch your gum, the epithelial cells are those cells that make up your gum. So we mapped all of this out. Next.
And then the gingipanes are coming from that bacteria.
Right. Yeah, so the gingipanes is coming from the bacteria. The bacteria is a factor that so these bacteria release, those bacteria release that compound, which then starts a cascade of chemical reactions in your body. It's like the shit coming out of the bacteria, okay? Next, flagellin is another virulent factor that goes and affects bone. While the other one affected soft tissue, this affects your osteoblasts, which leads to bone loss. So we've mapped out all those chemical reactions very meticulously. You see, this is what all these natural product companies don't do. They just throw garbage at you. They're as bad as big pharma. This takes a lot of work. This took us 5 years to map all this out. Next. Then this is what happens to the immune system, where LPS is a virulence factor, and this leads to TNF alpha, which causes a cytokine storm. Okay, again, we've had to meticulously map out every one of these chemical pathways. Next. And so when you put all this together, we have also identified the therapeutic molecular targets. So on the first column, you have the physiological effect, the cell type, and the potential target. So for example, if you look at interleukin-1 beta, IL-8, if you can hit those and you can downregulate them, you'll stop the inflammatory microenvironment. If you go to the next column, if you look at NF-kappa beta, interleukin-6, that will affect bone loss. Same thing with TLR5, protease, PRA2, that'll affect soft tissue loss. So we now know chemically that if you go hit those things on the right, you can downregulate the cytokine storm, you can stop bone loss, and you can stop soft tissue loss. So that's what's critical, because now we know, oh, we got to go bang those things down, and then we can stop this. Now we go to the products that nature produces, and we figure out which ones we can use in combination. And this was, again, published. It took us a bunch of years to publish this, but we've done the hard work now. And this was published on October 2023. It's the first of its kind molecular systems architecture. And again, this was done in the midst of all the other stuff we do, fighting for all of you guys by running for office, etc. A serious piece of scientific work. Next. I don't think Donald Trump does this. I don't think Booby fucking Kennedy can do this. Kamala Harris, none of those people. So you really have to wonder, don't you deserve someone like me in office who actually can do the science while doing all the other stuff, okay? Michelle wishes I would just do this. Right, Michelle?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, Michelle wonders why I'm fighting in the political arena. But anyway, we do it all here. Now we are in the midst of modeling this. We're going to model all of this. We're building the oral health models right now. And how much are we doing it for? Nothing. So we've decided to spin this off as a new company. You guys can participate if you want. We'll talk about that. Then the next step we're going to do is we're going to go through all those compounds in nature, okay? And we have already identified about 16 compounds or ingredients: activated charcoal, coconut oil, wheatgrass, licorice, cloves. And you'll see people just throw this shit into a product. Oh, eat this, but they don't know why. They can't even tell you if it works. So we are in the midst of taking these 16 compounds, and each one of these compounds may have 100 chemicals in them, nearly 1,600 chemicals. And we also have 3 different oral microbiome that we can, or probiotics. So we are now going to figure out of these thousands of compounds, which is the right one for you. Next. And then we're going to go and, once we do this, we're going to go get a patent, and then we'll actually produce a product. But that's where we're at. So if you guys are interested, support this research, because and as we move down this path, the valuation of these companies is going to grow and grow and grow. So you guys can support it from the kindness of your heart if you just want to contribute, or we're setting up a model where people can actually be investors in these companies. Next, again, this is a 3.8 billion people are affected by this. Even if we get 0.001% of the market, you can see that we can build a very large organization to help people. So how can you help? Well, you can buy our products. Buy MV25, buy our products, support our work. You can fund our research. You can become an affiliate to resell our products, or you can refer other people to buy our services. You can produce your own products using our infrastructure. And obviously, you can join the movement. Everyone here, become a Truth from Health Warrior Scholar. It's the least you guys can do. Next, to help yourself, not help me. You can go, number one, go to mv25.life. Get this great product. It reduces inflammation. It supports all sorts of very powerful processes. Next, go, if you have your pet and you care for your dogs, order K9701. Next, you can fund our research. Look, our research is dedicated to really fight the real racism, not what the Democrats or Republicans talk about, because indigenous people have amazing medicines. You can support our fight against racism by supporting CytoSolve, because we're preserving that ancient knowledge. Next. If you love your animals, there's no reason for animal testing at all. It's been shown over and over again, including by the NIH and FDA. We don't need to brutalize these animals to test stuff that doesn't translate to humans. Next. And most importantly, if you hate the swarm, recognize that everything we do is separate from the incestuous web of science of big government, big academia, big publishing, big pharma. We're doing this on our own. And now they are coming to us. And so go to vashiva.com/open science and donate. If you can buy our products, but you have lots of money and you don't know where to leave it with us, okay? Don't give it to people who may not really be grateful to your money. Next. And you can literally go to the Open Science Institute and fund any initiative. You have an oral health initiative. You can fund that. You can give it to the general fund, or you can support a particular initiative. Next. And when you donate to us, we give you lots of gifts. If you want a tax write-off, you can go to the International Center for Integrative Systems and you can fund there. If you want to get your tax write-off, you can do that. Next. You can also help by becoming an affiliate. You can sign up to resell our products. We give you deep discounts. You can refer products by CytoSolve to your friends and family. You can refer companies. There are companies who want to use CytoSolve. That's great. It generates us stuff to keep everything. We do a lot with a little. You know, we take $1 and we'll stretch it 1,000 times. Next. If you want to go to the affiliate, go to vashiva.com, go to the customer service section, and you can apply to be an affiliate. Next. Next thing is, and you can go right there. You can also do your own product development. Suppose you want to develop your own product. You have an idea. We're talking to people all over the world. You can use CytoSolve to discover your own product. This is what we call it an open science model. Next. And if you want to do that, Dr. Prabhakar will put this link up in Zoom. You can set up time with our team to discuss that as a follow-up. But we give you opportunities to also enable you to start your own company powered by CytoSolve. Next. And finally, everyone here, as I said with the outset, should at minimum become a Truth from Health Warrior Scholar. You contribute, but you get a lot in return, but be part of that. Next. So in summary, also come to our open house, 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. Every Systems Health, every other Fridays, we have the tutorial, 11 a.m. or 7 p.m. if you want to become a Systems Health professional. So we give you various ways to think, fight, heal. Next. Through all the different platforms we've created. We have people who are part of all of them. Anyway, that's our talk on oral health and a whole systems approach. The key finding, the key takeaway here is we have a process, CytoSolve, OraSolve, to create solutions for oral health. It's a systems-based approach. And most importantly, all of you can be part of this. Thank you. We'll take questions. So if you want to ask, I'll go to the chat if you guys have a question there. I'll see any comments there. Keela Broussard, can MV25 be taken with blood thinning medication? Look, in the interest of us not being thrown in jail, we are not medical doctors. You should ask your doctor about apigenin and hesperidin. They're two natural compounds. We don't want to give medical advice. Carol D says, we need you in office. No questions asked. Annie Ruby says, very impressive. Or Jessica Coco. Gracia Miglietti, what about dentists as they are wearing masks almost a whole day every day? Yep, cobbler's kids have no shoes. Very promising. Does it reverse the dysfunctions of patenting? Wouldn't you consider securing your products with trade secrets to avoid making the information public? Yeah, Gracia, it's an interesting question. We could do trade secrets. We've talked about that. It's an interesting question. In some cases, trade secrets can be better than patents. It's a long discussion. By the way, Google and Facebook want to make everything trade secrets, so none of us can patent anything. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Victor Rodriguez says, I use MV25 every day. Carol says, I use it every day and other people are using it. I have shared with a lot of people who now believe in it. Carol D says, amazing what you've done for all of us, Dr. Shiva. I really want to thank you. Yes, Victor says 18 months. Yeah. So any one of our initiatives, Prabhakar, you may want to go into one of those slides. We're looking at 18 months end to end from the time we take something on all the way to the development. Adela Ramirez says, is there any position for PhD in molecular biology? Sure, Adela, set up time to talk to us. Okay, we'd like to look at new talent. Will we have access to this recording? Yes, Gracia. Prabhakar, it gets loaded up on CytoSolve, right?
That's right.
Yep.
It should be up by tomorrow.
It'll be up by tomorrow. A very powerful phrase to reflect on policy affects biology. Akanke Rashid said that. Carol D says, I hear you. Okay, there we go. So what we're talking about is we've created a process. We're not waiting for the establishment. We're literally going to go after all these diseases. Pulmonary fibrosis to diabetes, et cetera. So you can see, for example, phase 4, we already have a bunch of solutions for Alzheimer's, digestion, liver, et cetera. And we're in the combination screening phase. So what we want to do is we want to make these initiatives publicly accessible, and we're working with attorneys to help us do that. So every one of you, if you want to, can participate in these initiatives financially or contribution-wise, et cetera. So again, we have solutions. This is why everyone here, get the word out. You help, all of these things are interrelated. And many of you know in the last open house, I was sort of really pissed off with people because you guys know in the middle of doing this, I'm also running for office, which Michelle doesn't want me to do, but I do it because someone's still got to fight. Hopefully all of you will learn how to fight. And we have those people. We have hundreds of thousands of volunteers, but all of you need to support either all or one of these initiatives. Get involved. We've made platforms so you can be involved, so it's not up to one individual. Gisun says, we are on MV25 and K9701. She goes, do trio, volunteer, donate, write, and yeah. So Gisun is right. You can do all of it. You can volunteer. You can support our movement. You can support CytoSolve, buy the products. You can support the political realm, support Shiva for president, and you can support System Self. But number one, support yourself. Save yourself. Save yourself. Is there a plan to produce these products in liquid form? Yeah, so there are many, Omar is asking, there are many ways of delivery, Omar. It's all about bioavailability and how you get this into the cells. So there's liquid, there's some things you may want to use in nano form, right? But one of the things you find is that enzymes are the key to this. Whatever you take, if you take the right enzymes, you can break them down. Barbara Latham says a whole system to support. Yep. One of the things we're coming with is I want to let everyone know we have just finished building. Prabhakar, you may want to bring your body, your system. We're going to probably do this at the next one. We have spent the last 15 years now, really since my Fulbright time, looking at all the ancient texts in Siddha and Ayurveda for helping people figure out, based on your body type, what's the right thing for you to bring you back into your own balance. So this tool, Your Body, Your System, which we used to just give away, no one valued it, so we're taking it back. You guys can pay us for it because we were just giving it away, and we give away, no one values it. But this tool, Your Body, Your System, as Prabhakar scrolls down, will help you figure out what kind of body you are, okay? Gracie Ellis says, thank you so much, Dr. Shiva, Dr. Prabhakar, and team. Words can express my gratitude. I'm one of your warriors, and I'll purchase these supplements. Also, I'm open to an affiliate program. Does oil pulling with coconut oil really improve oral health? Prabhakar, yeah. So what the coconut oil and these things do, Prabhakar, we haven't had a chance to do, but this is an ancient Indian technique, you know? We could do research on it, what coconut oil is really doing, but it's a polar substance, right? Coconut oil also has, what is it, lauric acid, right, Prabhakar? A couple of important things that are antibacterial, and they must, I'm just guessing, it must take out the bad bacteria. But what you see here is this tool, as you go up, helps you figure out, first of all, what kind of system you are, which is the red dot. And then it helps you figure out when your body's off course. And then we have created tools to help you bring your body back to where it is, okay? And this gives you a whole lifestyle and a diet. But most recently, we went through all the ancient Indian texts integrated with CytoSolve. We have 7 different teas, because there's 7 different possibilities that you can take to bring you back to you, okay? Yeah, coconut oil is anti-inflammatory. So we want to let you know that we've created a whole line of products that is directly based on where your body is at a certain point. And again, the Systems Health program will help you become a coach, and then you can figure out, we're basically giving you tools. We're not going to distribute it directly. We're going to distribute it through our Systems Health educators. Okay. Yes, you're welcome, Gracia. Again, Gracia says very valuable information. Again, you notice it's absolutely free what we just shared with you, but we think you guys should reciprocate, support our movement, get involved in some way. We need to keep the lights on, so you can help us out. All right. Any questions? We'll take final questions. It is 12:30. You can hit the reactions button, or you can just put your question. Anne Ruby says, so this approach is rooted from Ayurveda as far as finding which will help you best. Yeah, so Anna, it's actually rooted in 2 areas, Ayurveda and engineering systems. Prabhakar, you may just want to give everyone our next tutorial that's coming out, systemshealth.com/tutorial. So Anna, the problem with Ayurveda and Siddha is most people don't even know what is Ayurveda and Siddha. In fact, the best Ayurvedic practitioners can't explain it. I've been able to decipher it from an engineering systems approach. You can send it later, Prabhakar. I think, yeah. There it is, yeah. You can just put it on systemshealth.com/tutorial. Or I think it's vashiva.com/tutorial. /tutorial. There, yeah. Yeah, just put that, thanks. All right, if there's no other questions, I want to encourage everyone to get involved, support the research we're doing, and Prabhakar once again share the Calendly link if you want to do a follow-up to learn more. Jessica Coco says 93% of all breast cancer comes from the mouth, especially dead and or root canal teeth. Yeah, root canals are one of the most dangerous things you can do. John Wilson says you make so much sense. Diane says, what about structured water? What water do you think is best? And how do you keep families safe? And what about well water instead of city water? Is your body or system being taught in a class format? Yeah, Victor, it is as a part of the Systems Health program. Can I share this with you at friends? Take notes, but we'll struggle. Yes, Lynn, it'll be up on cytosolve.com. Can CytoSolve find combination of all compounds and electrons? Yep, the answer is yes. I love that, bridging the gap. I would love to invest. Omar Y says he'd like to invest. So Omar, if you'd like to do that, set up time at that link Dr. Prabhakar just shared, and we can do an offline, online conversation. Same with Colin Warcall says, I'm interested in investing, details on the website. Yeah, Colin, there's a link that Dr. Prabhakar will put up. You can set up direct time with us on my calendar. Brian Yates says, any suggestions for dry mouth at night? Well, obviously, you want to, dryness is a vata problem. You want to increase water, right? You want to increase liquidity, movement. So what I can suggest, Brian, if you go to your body, your system, it'll give you suggestions on things that will increase fluid in your mouth. And you have to base it on your particular state. Everyone's body is different. Any other questions? If you have any questions, you can put it up there, or we can call it a day. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Matthew says it's the best day of my life, Dr. Shiva, that you have started what you are called for. Thank you so much. 65% of men with stage 4 prostate cancer with advanced cachexia went into immediate remission when dead teeth, root canal teeth were removed, and the jawbone was revitalized. Yeah, I mean, look, the mouth is really the gateway. I have heard, I don't know who put this up there, Jessica, the amount of stuff that happens when you really, really clean up the mouth. I mean, it's a systemic thing. It affects your whole body. Where can I watch the meditation symposium? I think that's in our Systems Health site. Thank you, Dr. Shiva. Thank you, Dr. Prabhakar. Someone says brushing teeth with cinnamon helps. Thank you, Dr. Shiva and all. Great, everyone. Be well, be the light. Thank you. Everyone keep an eye out for the developments that we're doing, but our work in CytoSolve, the way we're structured, because what we're doing is so different, is going to grow because of you. So get involved, invest, support. And if some of you have leadership qualities and want to help run one of these initiatives, we're actually looking for leaders, business development people who have really good entrepreneurial skills. And it's good to get people from our community versus getting people from outside our community, meaning people have the same value system. So again, use that Calendly link if you're interested in essentially being entrepreneurial, helping grow one of these initiatives. Okay, thank you. Be well.